and welcome back to the Tea and Soju C Drama podcast, your safe spot for C Drama chatter. I'm your host, Liliana, and it's time to sit back, grab your tea, and let's chat Asian dramas. In today's episode, I'm very excited because not only do we have Sarah from K Drama This, but we're reviewing a big drama, and that is Nirvana in Fire. We'll get into that in just a second, but just some housekeeping. If you like the podcast, please like, share, and subscribe on the platform you listen on. That really helps the podcast reach other listeners. For more content, check out Patreon, where you can find behind the scenes, first impressions, movie reviews, and more. Finally, if you would like to chat to me or find a community, check out Discord, Instagram, and other socials. The link for my socials and Sarah's socials will all be in the episode notes. So, before we dive into this, Sarah, would you like to introduce yourself? You're a core, it's not your first time on the podcast, but go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah. So I post at Instagram at K-Drama This, and I'm also one of the co-hosts from Afternoona Asks podcast, which is we describe ourselves as a kind of K-drama adjacent podcast. So we deal with lots of questions about K-dramas, things that come up. So we've done recently podcasts about the Korean education system. We've talked about Confucianism in My Dearest. We've done an intro pod to Chinese language for C-drama watchers, if you want to check that out. So yeah, we've done quite a few. We're a bit of a baby pod, but we've been doing it for almost a year now. It's a lot of fun. So you can check that out. And we
I
also
can't
had,
believe.
yeah, we also had you, Liliana. You came and did a C-drama one.
Yeah, I
It
did.
turned out to be one of our most popular podcasts. So our 101,
Really?
yeah.
Oh, that's good. I can't believe it's almost been a year. I feel like it was just yesterday that you guys were launching. I really like listening to your podcast because it's not like your typical podcast. You get down to a lot of topics that just don't get mentioned anywhere else. I feel like I always come away having learned a lot, and I really appreciate that. So
Oh,
I
thank
I
you.
I do. I do. I loved you guys did an episode, and now I'm gonna completely forget his name, but you had a guest on to talk about wuxia, didn't you?
Yes,
On
yes,
I really
yes.
liked that podcast. I learned a heck of a lot, and it was such an interesting episode.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
so yeah, I'll make sure to link the podcast in the episode notes, but definitely go and check it out. I feel like you and Grace do lots of good things over there. So yeah. So, Sarah, let's do so. What have you been watching recently? I want to get like whenever I do guest episodes, I want to do what have you been watching
Whatever.
recently?
Well, I feel like the whole of our social media has been watching the Lovely Runner. Are you
Yeah,
watching Lovely
yeah, yeah.
Runner? Everybody's watching Lovely
I am.
Runner. So
I
I
am
am.
watching. I'm a little bit behind, but I intend to make sure I'm caught up because I refuse to have spoilers for the last two
Yes,
episodes
exactly. Yeah.
that are coming up. So yeah, I am. I am. I'm really enjoying it actually. I think yeah, like I said, I'm just a little bit behind because there was a couple of Chinese dramas that came out and
Yeah.
like you know how relentless Chinese drama airing schedules are.
I do.
So
Yeah.
I got a bit behind, but I will definitely I'm quite enjoying that one. We'll see how they land. I'm hoping, but we shall see. What are you watching anything else?
Yeah. What the other currently airing dramas I'm watching are I've just started a midnight romance in Hagwon,
Mm-hmm.
which is a quiet romance drama. It stars Wee Ha Jun, so I think everyone's been quite excited because this is his first male lead role that he's
Yeah, I
had,
was
and
gonna say, yeah.
it's in a romance. But it is so Hagwon is the Korean word for an academy. So
Mm-hmm.
the ones that kind of students go to after they've been to school and they've had
After
a whole
school, yeah.
long day. They then spend like hours in more lectures to get
Mm-hmm.
kind of their grades as high as they can make them. So I'll say we're now 4 episodes in, so it's only just started, but it's quite heavy on the workplace Hagwon
Oh.
stuff and not so much of
Mm.
the romance. But it is they're hinting at it, and it is a Nuna romance, slightly forbidden love Nuna romance because
Okay.
she was his teacher when he
Yeah,
was
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
student. So there's that kind of, and obviously
dynamic.
they're both adults now and everything, but it just has that kind of edge to it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Um, it's
mm-hmm.
done by the director of One Spring Night and Something in the Rain. So it
That
has,
intrigues me.
yeah, so it really has that. So if you're familiar with those dramas, it has that kind of
Mm-hmm.
feel. You won't be surprised to know that the theme song is already annoying me.
Like, there's something about this director and having one specific song
Yeah,
that he does to death in a drama.
yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I haven't watched Something in the Rain, but I have watched One Spring Night. I really liked One Spring Night.
Yeah,
So
I love One Spring Night. But that was quite romance heavy from the get-go. So I'm kind of
mm-hmm.
waiting for, something to start. So I see. I mean, I will carry on. I will watch all of it. But it was a little bit heavier on the workplace than I was expecting. So that's
Mm.
one. The other one that I'm really watching that I'm really enjoying is Atypical Family, which is on
Oh,
Netflix.
I'm watching that one.
Are you watching that one?
Yeah,
It's good,
I
right?
am. I am.
It's surprisingly
It's
good.
it's surprisingly good and it's surprisingly different. It's not something that I've watched out of, K-drama land in a while.
Yeah,
So I'm quite excited to see where the story kind of goes. I am behind this weekend because we've got a long weekend.
yeah.
So
You're gonna catch up.
I'm gonna catch up on everything. Because they released Joy of Life season 2, plus they released Fox Spirit Matchmaker, the first one, and those two dramas are two dramas that I've been ridiculously looking forward to starting. But
Yeah,
they are, like I said, relentless when they're releasing, 2 episodes a day constantly. So it's
yeah.
like you miss a day, and all of a sudden you're 4 episodes behind.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Yeah.
So those are the ones I don't mind getting behind on K dramas as much because I feel like I can catch up on them way quicker
Yes.
than I
Yes.
can on on a C drama. So, but I am watching Atypical Family. I always forget her name, but the kid
Oh,
that
yeah, she's great. I love her.
I yeah, I really, really like her. We'll
And
see. I'm just intrigued by this whole, plot that they're spinning in Atypical Family. So
yeah.
we'll
So
see. But
basically,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so just to recap for viewers that aren't like well listeners rather that aren't
Yeah.
on board with it. So the basically this is a supernatural fantasy romance drama. The male lead is Jang Ki-yong. He's just come out of military service. So this is his first
Mhm.
service, first drama back. And
Drama
I was
back.
like I was just laughing because he's so good looking. He's very, very clean cut,
He
good looking, and he's
is.
been in some
Yeah.
roles. I've seen quite a few of his dramas actually, but in this drama, he looks really disheveled. His hair is longer. He's kind of schlepping around in sweats,
Yeah.
and he doesn't look clean cut and dynamic. And he's so sexy. I'm just like, like I did never fancied him before this drama, and now I'm just like, wow, he looks really hot. He looks really hot, like he's all
There's
disheveled.
something, yeah. There's something about, about him in this character. But yeah, so they basically this family has superpowers, but they've fallen into the trap of modern, what's the word? Modern
Sins,
sicknesses
yeah,
in a
sicknesses. They're
sense.
like, yes,
depression,
obesity, like mobile phone
anxiety,
screen.
obesity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
their powers are basically malfunctioning because of that. I will say I was really wary going in, and the reason being because there is one of the characters does have like a fat suit on,
Yes,
and
yes.
I was thinking originally, oh, it's 2024, why are we still doing this? I kind of understand why it's there though, but I don't know. I think some viewers might find it that they don't necessarily want to go down that route. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's very different to anything that, like I said, that I've watched from Korea.
Yeah.
And I quite enjoy that aspect. Because to be fair, I I've been I think last year was the first year that I finished less I don't know. I did not finish that many Korean dramas at all. I think I finished like 10 in total the whole year. So, I'm hoping that changes this year and there's a few more that I end up enjoying and finishing up. So yeah,
Yeah.
that this is one I'm watching and really enjoying. But
I
yeah, like
like
I
I
said,
like yeah, I like that we don't know what's going to happen.
I don't. I have no clue where this story is going, and I kind of
Exactly. Yeah.
adore that because
Yeah.
it's like you can theorize as much as you like with this drama, because there's little bits here and there that you just think, oh, maybe it's going in this direction, maybe it's going in that direction, but ultimately, it's like you just don't know until until it happens. Yeah. Um, so yeah, I am watching that one, also enjoying it. And then, like I said, for Chinese dramas, I'm very much in my Joy of Life era. I'm so happy that I did not have to wait the 5 years that everybody
My
else had
God, yeah.
to.
I know,
Because,
right?
jeez, because the thing is, season one does actually end on a cliffhanger.
Right.
So, season one ends on a big cliffhanger, and season two picks up exactly where season one left off. And if I literally finished it, and then 3 days later the new season premiered. So I was living my best life. Whereas there's people that had watched this on air, which means they would have awaited 5 years. And
Oh my
it's
God.
it's crazy. I actually think Joy of Life is one that you might enjoy, Sarah. The politics are done so well, so
Yes.
well. The big difference with Joy of Life and Nirvana and Fire is that I would say Nirvana and Fire is more dense
Mm.
and less Joy of Life leans into the comedy a lot more. Um but their politics is so good. It's like I don't even enjoy politics that much, but when it comes to Joy of Life, it's like it's so well done because there's a couple of characters and they're all very clever, and it's like them trying to outdo each other and outmaneuver each other, and it's done really really well. And actually there's a lot of female characters that are also very clever, so I really
Oh,
too.
that sounds good. That
um
sounds good.
yeah,
Yeah. No,
so
I think
that's where I am.
it is on my list of future C dramas.
Mm.
So yeah, I just need to need more time. I'd like more time.
Oh God. Yeah. If only we didn't have to sleep or something like that. Wouldn't that be lovely? The
Work,
amount of time
mainly
we'd be
work,
able
mainly
to.
work. Yeah,
Yeah. That too. That too. I would quite appreciate not have to.
exactly.
Right. So I've got some other questions out of here. Are there any dramas that you're looking forward to starting, do you think?
Yeah, so I have missed Gong Yu like everybody else. So
Mm.
he is due for we're finally gonna get a drama from him, I think, this year. We're meant to. So we're meant to be getting Trunk, which is an 8 episode drama that's gonna be out on Netflix. And
Mm.
he's in that with So Hyun Jin, who I really love. She was in Another Miss O and You Are My
I really
Spring.
like her.
I love
I
her.
really, yeah.
She's got such a guy's kind of like scatty, like messy way about her that I
Mm-hmm.
really enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And that's supposed to be a romance as well, which is what we need from him. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued by that one because it's an 8 episode romance. So
Yeah.
I'm very intrigued by the length of it. And the cast is really good. So I that one is on my list to check out once it comes out, just for the simple fact that I like the cast and I'm very intrigued that it's only 8 episodes.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so yeah.
And then the other one
Uh
is Golden Boy, which is so you might know that I'm a big Jung Hae-in fan. Um
mm-hmm.
and I
Mm-hmm.
went to his fan meet. So he said in his fan meet that he's very, very tired of being a soldier. and doing kind of violent roles. He really, really wants to do a rom-com. And so he finally got his first rom-com.
Oh my
This one
God,
we
that's exciting.
yeah, so he's in it with Jung So Min, who was in Because This Is My First Life
My
and
first
Alchemy of
life, yeah.
Souls. Yeah. So she's fantastic. And it has got an air date. So that is coming out the end of August. So I think my drama list has it as Love Next Door, but I think it's going to be called Golden Boy because basically he's the golden boy that is like, your mum always has a friend who's
Yeah.
whose child is the golden boy and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
studies really
Can
like
do no
can
wrong.
do no wrong, has amazing
Yeah.
career, did get a good grade. He's that guy. And
Yeah.
in Jung So Min's life, so it's going to be like I think slightly enemies to lovers, which I love. So
I
yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
Sign me up. Sign me up. I really like him. And I think he has this energy about him that could really do well in rom-com because he just
Yeah,
has that like look to him, if
he
that makes
does.
sense. Like
No,
he's
I
very
agree.
versatile.
He
We
is.
know he can do the harder roles. Let the man do. I think he has a lot of potential to do really well in a rom-com lead. That's exciting. No, those are
Yeah.
really good ones that to look forward to. What about two dramas that have really grabbed your attention? I think I'm pretty sure I know one of them in the last couple of months.
Yeah, so that's Queen of Tears probably that you were talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
Yeah, so I fell, I mean, I just love this writer's works. And I'll be honest, like it doesn't stand up to scrutiny. Like so much of the plot point, it just, especially towards the end, it just went a bit wacky.
Mm.
There's lots of things for me to pick the bones of their romance and like the kind of, where he started and where they finished. And there's a like I like Jess from Day Back Pod. She's not started it yet, but I know I could already hear like things that she's going to find
She's
problematic
not
about. So,
going to. I
yeah,
don't think she will even press play on this one. I don't. This is not a drama that Jess will enjoy. I can like put my hands on fire and know that she will watch an episode or two and she will tear it apart because she will not enjoy it.
there's a
I
lot
just.
in there that I could see. But for me, just personally, there are just some dramas when I'm really enjoying them. I just kind of let go of the brain a bit and I'm just like, do you know what? It is what it is. I'm not going to go down plot cul-de-sacs and get all angry at it. I'm literally just going to, this is kind of me with Alchemy of Souls. I just kind of like, I'm just going to enjoy the spectacle. Like I can see the show that
Yeah,
you're trying to make and I can see the emotions that you're trying to make me feel and I'm going to feel them. And I'm
yeah,
very
just
happy and
go with it.
go with it. And I cried a lot. And Kim Soo Hyun is, oh, he's just amazing. He's just so
See,
amazing.
for me, I have I have a big problem with Queen of Tears. It's the fact that I adored the main couple. Like
Yeah,
them,
yeah,
I have said this time and time again. I wish so badly that this was their story only. Like them going from this
almost on the
place,
verge of divorce. Yeah,
yeah, and them kind of like going and growing and, just them.
yeah,
That's all I wanted. I don't need the whole faff around it. And I
yes.
feel like to me, it was too long because I said this. If anybody ever again says to me that a C drama is too long, if you were to put Queen of Tears into a Chinese drama, it would be 56 episodes long. So take that as you will.
So true.
Into
It's
like
so true.
into like Chinese drama episode length, it
Yeah.
would be like 56 episodes long of a Chinese drama. So I just feel like I wish it was slightly more condensed because I think at like some parts like big emotions were happening very quickly and it didn't allow me to like sit in those emotions for a bit before the next big thing happened and then the next big thing happened. So I think like for me, I loved their acting. Their acting was on point. He cried, I cried, she
Yeah.
cried.
So true. So true.
there's no arguing with that. Their acting is what kept me glued to that show. But I wish it would have just been more condensed, because yeah, that's like my one big problem with it. It's like I don't need the whole, because I didn't really care for the rest of the characters, so to
Yeah,
speak. I didn't
fair.
really care for the campany stuff. I wanted that, like, to me, this being a second chance romance type of drama would have
Yeah.
been, you know,
It
elite,
was, it,
because you
yeah, it
don't
was, you don't get them very often. And yeah, it was really interesting.
know.
Yeah,
Mm,
agree.
mm. Yeah,
So,
so
so that's that one. That's probably the obvious one. And then my second one is been quite an underrated, kind of under the radar one because it's not a romance. It's Blood Free, which has been airing on Disney Plus. Is Han Hyo-joo, who is a female lead
mhm.
from Happiness and Moving, and she's in this. So she's the CEO of a blood meat. Sorry, a meat kind of production. So like not imitation meat, but fake meat. So it tastes
Okay.
it's manufactured meat. And she's there and the male lead is Ju Ji-hoon, who is from Kingdom.
Mhm.
So he plays her bodyguard. So automatically that is like a setup I like,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
body, but it's not a romance. Um, and no romance happens at all between them. But it's almost like there's more chemistry in those 10 episodes of them not steadfastly not having a romance.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
there was more chemistry there than some of the other things that I've seen this year that are billed
Yeah.
as like romance.
Billed as a romance.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
find that, do you know, I find this quite interesting. This brings up a point. Caitlin from the No Sleep for Dramas has said she watches a lot of crime and stuff like that. And a
Yeah.
lot of the time, you have like a male lead and a female lead, but there's
Yes.
no romance. But
Yes.
she's said a couple of times, the amount of chemistry these two
Yes.
are, like, the
Yeah.
audience is begging for a romance,
Yeah.
but that's not what it is. And
No.
I'm like, I kind of like that it's not a romance almost,
Yes.
because that chemistry and that tension just feels really good in a
Yeah.
drama, because
I agree. Yeah.
like, you get a little bit of that in a romance, but as soon as they get together, that tension and that, that kind of like disappears, because it's kind of like not there anymore. But I do appreciate when a drama does that, when everybody's like cut, they need to have a romance, but they just, that's not the plot. So yeah, I haven't watched Blood Free, but I have been hearing really good things about it. So I might just need to go and check it out at some point.
Yeah, it's a short one. It's 10
Yeah.
episodes, and they're not Queen of Tears episodes. They're just normal Korean
They're not
K-drama.
gonna do this episode.
They're just normal K-drama episodes, like an hour long. So it won't take, but it's very stylish. The production values are super high and it's very intriguing. And it's another one of those like you don't
Mm.
know what's going to happen next. You don't know where this drama's going because it's not a very obvious kind of setup. So yeah, I do
Oh, I'll have to
highly
check.
recommend.
I'll have to check that one out. So that is it. Should we move into Nirvana in Fire?
Yes,
Here we
let's.
go. Should we get into this drama? That is, I think it is dubbed as like one of the best historical dramas. It's highly rated on my drama list. Actually, in fact, it's, I think I have it down in the facts, but it is the highest rated Chinese drama in like my drama list, if I'm not mistaken. I'll
I
double
think it
check because I
is.
think I did write down. But
I
it
think
is
you're
like
right.
it's highly rated, and it's one of those that is really highly rated on Douban as well, which is, it's rare. Douban
Yes.
does not give good scores. so yeah. So my drama list synopsis. In the 6th century China, the Emperor of Great Liang orders the unjust execution of his brother-in-law, Marshal Lin Shi, alongside the Lin family, his 70,000 army soldiers, and Crown Prince Qi. Secretly surviving the massacre is Lin Shi's son, Lin Shu, who undergoes medical treatment that changes his appearance entirely and leaves him in a weakened state. Unable to ever perform martial arts again, Lin Shu changed his name to Mei Chang Su and later became the chief of the pugilist world and established the Jiangsu Alliance. 12 years later, Mei Chang Su returns to the capital with the secret plan after being sought after by Prince Yu and Prince Xian during their fight for the throne. He decides to covertly assist Prince Jing, the unfavored son of the emperor, and wisely rids the court of all scheming officials. So, That is a setup. That I think that actually describes it fairly well. That is literally the story of this. So well done, my drama list. That is because sometimes you get some of my drama list as synopsis and they are terrible.
Or they're
But
random. They're just random,
they
some of
are.
them. Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Some of them will tell you the whole story, like beginning to end in the synopsis.
So
And I
true.
was like, that's not what I was looking for, but I guess that's what I'm getting. But this one I think describes it very well. And since we have Sarah on, I thought it'd be fun to let Sarah do the cast because you guys know my pronunciation is atrocious half the time. So we're gonna get Sarah to sort of go through the cast for us.
Yeah, so this is a pretty stellar cast.
Mhm.
So Mei Chang-soo, who is the main lead that Lilian just mentioned, he's played by Hugo and or sorry, he's played by Hugo and then another the Prince Jing, who he helps, is played by uh Wang Kai. And
Mhm.
then we've got the female lead, who we actually saw recently that we mentioned that I didn't even recognize almost till partway through
Mhm.
Reset. And I realized
She
this is like
was.
the same actress. So she plays Duchess Ni Huang, and that's Liu Tao. And then we've got General Meng, who's played by Chen Long. And the Emperor is Ding Yongdai, and he plays really well. He plays the Emperor of Great Liang. So
Mhm.
those
Mhm.
are the main cast, but I also wanted to bring up because I only realized when I was looking up the cast, because obviously I knew who was in the cast because I generally check my drama list when I'm watching a drama just to see who's who and what's
Mhm.
what.
Mhm.
But Fei Liu, who is the kind of child disciple, well, not disciple, but
This
kind of not really his
age.
it's aide, I guess, his martial aide,
Yeah. Yeah.
is actually very famous. And everyone's
Yes.
probably
Yes.
seen him in a drama, and I didn't even know it was him. So it's Leo Wu or Wu Lei, and he is like 16 years old in this drama because it's a
Mhm.
drama from quite a while ago, Nirvana and Fire.
2015.
2015. Yeah. So
Mhm.
like he was so young and I didn't even recognize him because I mean I haven't watched I'll hold my hands up. I have not watched any of his dramas. They are on my list to watch. But I didn't watch Amidst a Snowstorm in Love, which everybody else has really enjoyed this year. So I
I
hadn't
loved.
although I did see loads and loads of clips because when a drama goes as big as that, it does come up on your social media. So I had seen plenty of clips
Yeah.
of him, did not put him together as like this 16-year-old like flying martial artist guy from
Yeah.
Nirvana in Fire. I was like, what? It's amazing.
And he does. So he does a lot of like his own stunts and whatnot, and it's because I'm guessing he grew up amongst all of these great actors who do their own stunts. So he just works really well in period costume in general.
Yeah.
But for me, I was saying I was watching Nirvana and Fire at the same time as I was watching Amidst a Snowstorm of Love, and I was like, my brain compute the two because it's like it's the same person, but he's like so young in Nirvana and Fire. Like you see his face, it's like a kid's face
Yeah,
almost
it is.
because
It
he
is.
was. So when this released, he was 16 years old, but I'm assuming this would have recorded at least a year in advance, if not two. I think I have it down. So yeah, so this was filmed in 2014, so he would have been 15 at the time when
Right.
this
Wow.
recorded.
Yeah.
um so yeah, he just looks so young. It's I don't know, it's very interesting to see him doing that. But we were just mentioning before we started recording that it's no wonder that he is growing so well as an actor if he's been amongst these types of actors and learning from them, because he has actually said in interviews that he quite likes to ask questions to his seniors and kind of like watch them how they are acting. And
Yes.
he has been wanting to act since he was very, very young. So it would not surprise me that with every role that he's sort of played, that he's thrown himself into watching his seniors and whatnot, especially in a drama like this with a cast like this. He must have learned a lot
Yes. Yeah.
from this. So yeah, he has a very bright future ahead of him, I think.
Yeah.
Um so yeah. So
Yeah.
that's the cast.
That's the cost. And then because I watched Reset after your well, you've been talking about Reset before anyway, but
I
after your
love
101,
Reset.
I
Yeah,
know you
yeah.
love Reset. So one after the 101 drama episode dropped, quite a few of the
Mm.
patron actually, the Afternoon of Delight patron picked up Reset, loved it. So I finally watched it. I had me needing to watch it, but I finally watched it. And obviously, as you sold in the drama in the podcast, it's very short. So it's
Yes.
not a big commitment. But then
No.
I think I got in like a few episodes. I was like, Liliana, like we're not about to, but we were going to cover Nirvana and Fire, and I was like, there's
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
two cast members in this, from Reset, and then I can't remember. I think you remembered the girl, the woman.
Yeah, yeah, I did.
But then I think you couldn't remember who were the other, so you didn't realize who the other guy. So the other guy was I think they call him Prince Duke Xie. And he's played by what's his name? Liu Yijun, who is the police detective in Reset. So as soon as I saw him,
Yes,
I was like, oh my
yes.
God, it's him. And
I
obviously
know
these guys
him.
are like people that have like massive, massive long sets of dramas and work. Like they just must not never stop working. They've got so many works under their belts.
The thing
So,
is, they did Liu Tao, they just did her so badly in
oh
Reset because
God,
they
they did
styled her so badly
so
for that
badly.
drama.
Yeah, because obviously
Yeah, I
In Nirvana and Fire, she's a goddess. Like she is. So she plays.
stunning. I
She's
love
stunning. Yeah, so she plays Ni Huang as a duchess, but she's also like a martial warrior. So she has a
mm-hmm.
martial warrior costume where she just looks kick-ass as hell. And then
Yeah.
she has her own like duchess like royalty kind of outfits where she's
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
so beautiful. So that's why when I was like, I don't know, 7 or 8 episodes into Reset. And and then and then I kept thinking she does look really familiar. And then I looked it up and I was like, no way. Because she was in
But
glasses, had terrible
mm-hmm.
hair,
Her hair
was in
is so
so
bad because that was
bad.
a
So
wig. That's not
bad.
her hair. That's a wig. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Why would you do this to her? So I don't know. I don't know, but they did style her. That was actually trending when Reset was airing. It actually trended about like her wig and how
How
badly they
awful she does.
styled her.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm glad
yeah,
they
yeah. They
dissed the
did.
drama for that. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
deserve
they
it.
did because it was a bit atrocious the way they styled her. So yeah. So that's the cast. Who's director down here. So for director we have Kong Sheng. Is that how you say it?
It's Kong Sheng. Kong Sheng.
Gongsheng.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's done dramas like Mining Town, Ode to Joy, and Nirvana in Fire too. Now, Mining Town is on my list to watch,
Mm.
but what I've heard, it's short, it's not a very long drama, but what I heard is that Mining Town, is basically one of those that Chinese people will appreciate way more than international audiences,
Ah, okay.
even though it's done very, very well. It's just one of those that, Chinese audiences will tend to watch and appreciate much, much more.
Ah,
So yeah, but
right.
I do want to check it out because I've heard very good things about it.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, there is actually we're talking about, we were just saying about Reset being short.
Yes.
There is two dramas, especially one that has come out recently that I think you would appreciate and appreciate even more the fact that it's only 8 episodes long. It's a Chinese drama, 8 episodes long, and it's called To the Wonder, and
Right.
it's very, very good. It's kind of like almost like a slice of life, but it's filmed in Altai, which is like in on the
Ah,
border of
yes.
Kazakhstan and Mongolia,
Yes.
and it's very
Yeah. I saw your post
yeah.
on it on Instagram. You posted about it, didn't you?
I
Yeah.
did, I did, I did. But that's kind of like one that I was like, oh, next time I speak to Sarah, I think she might like that one because it's very short and the story itself is not very big
Mm.
almost,
Yeah.
but it's such a different take on a different ethnicity background and whatnot. And they actually got actors of that descent to do the drama as well. So it's very, very good.
Ah,
Um,
cool, cool.
so yeah, so let's get back. I get off track so easily.
That's right.
Um, the other director is Lee Shu, and he's done things such as My Superhero, Like a Flowing River 2, and Nirvana and Fire 2 as well. And screenwriter is Hai Yan. And they've only done Love Me If You Dare, which I haven't watched, but I feel like is quite a popular drama. But I feel like it's one of those, I don't know, not revenge. It's angsty kind of drama. So I have to be in a specific type of mood to kind of really watch it. So yeah, it was filmed from the 13th of February 2023 to not 2023. What am I on about? Filmed on the 13th of February 2014 to the 7th of June 2014, and it aired from the 19th of September 2015 to the 15th of October 2015. And it's 54 episodes of about 40 minutes each. And it holds a 9.4 score on Douban, which is what we were saying. That's insane.
Mm.
9.4 on Douban is it's insanely high. And it holds a 9.1 on MDL, which yeah, see, I did check. It is the highest rated Chinese drama on my drama list. So that is still insane that it is that highly rated in both places. Because typically it's the like typically stuff that is highly rated on my drama list is not that highly rated on Douban and vice versa. Um, so that's always quite interesting to sort of see. So I just have some fun facts about the drama before we get into the discussion. So the filming location, it'll be no surprise to any of you that this was filmed partially in Hengdian World Studio because that is where a lot of the historical Chinese dramas are filmed. But this was also recorded in Qiangshan Film City, Shihu City, Zishi Grand Grassland. God, there is a lot of places and Yandang Mountains as well. So there's quite a few places. Due to the drama being under Daylight Entertainment, which also produced the disguiser, much of the ensemble cast remained the same. And I thought this was quite interesting. Hugo filmed many historical dramas before, but this was the first one where he didn't actually have a single fight scene. So that was quite interesting. And this was Wang Kai's first historical drama, and it proved to be his breakout role. And the sequel, Nirvana in Fire 2, continues the storyline, but with the next generation. So it's a different cast, different, storyline completely. And so the original source novel was initially supposed to be Dan May, but the story was later changed. That wouldn't surprise me. There's a lot of bromance in this drama, so that wouldn't surprise me. Um, but yeah, that's that. Now, this drama has been awarded a bunch of things left, right, and center. So I'm just gonna pull some out. At the 28th Golden Eagle Awards, it won Best Actor for Hugo, Most Popular Actor for Hugo, Most Popular Actress for Liu Tao, and 22nd Magnolia Awards, Best Actor for Hugo again, and Best Director. And, for the 19th Huanding Awards for 2016, it won Best 100 Television Dramas. It came in first place. So there is a lot of awards for this drama, from best actor to best actress to most popular, drama to there's just a lot that this drama is accoladed with. So that's all of the details and whatnot out of the way. Let's get into some spoiler-free questions first. How did you find the experience of watching this drama, Sarah? Because I think we had slightly different experiences. So how was it for you?
Um, so first of all, this is let me just double check how many episodes, right? It's a 54 episoder, right? So whilst you do
Mhm.
see dramas, all the time, I
Yeah.
often don't. So I felt like I always had to kind of prepare myself in. And then also I find my experience of C dramas generally is that often it kind of builds slow. So there's a huge cast of characters that I have to kind of get to know over several episodes, and my brain hurts trying to work out who's who. And then eventually, round about maybe episode 10, 11, I kind of finally get to grips
It
with who's who
clicks.
and who's what and who is under which kind of hat or hair and actually get into the story. Whereas in Nirvana and Fire, although it absolutely is obviously a very long drama and there is a massive cast, I got into it quite quickly in comparison.
Hmm.
So I was actually quite surprised by how quickly I got swept in and swept up by the drama. This is a wuxia historical. So, as we were talking, we did a whole podcast on it, but this is kind of more the martial arts historical rather than the xianxia, which
Yeah.
is more of a historical fantasy. So wuxia is what I grew up with. So this drama felt
Yeah.
really familiar to me, I think,
Hmm.
from the get-go, partly because of that. So this kind of sits like this world of Jianghu, which is the martial arts, like literally
Hmm.
translated it's like rivers and lakes. But Jianghu means the martial arts world, which
Hmm.
within which Sentai novels are set. So that's kind of my childhood, watching dramas like that
Yeah.
is my childhood. So I found it interesting because there's practically no martial arts in this, even though it follows beat for beat kind of what is a wuxia
Hmm.
drama. So I found it really interesting from that point of view as well, because like you said, it's just in her. I have never watched a wuxia drama where the male lead does not do any martial
Any
arts,
fighting? Yeah.
any fighting, no martial arts, right? So it was really interesting from that point of view as well. So it had all of the familiarity of a wuxia drama for me, but lots and lots of things that were completely new and different for me as well.
Mm.
So yeah, I really enjoyed it. And then obviously the deeper I got into the drama, the more and more I loved it, and you get to know the characters, and
Hmm.
it had that kind of edge that I think that with C dramas have often, that you just don't know what's going to happen to any of these characters. Like I
Yeah.
I deliberately went into this blind. We know from episode 1, so this is not a spoiler, that our main lead is very ill. He's
Yeah.
really,
Yeah. We
really
know.
ill.
Yeah.
Ill to the point of like he doesn't have much left
Time.
time
Yeah.
left of his life. So we kind of know that from the start. But obviously, this is a drama. There's 54 episodes. Could they come up with some magical cure for him? Is he going to end up alive? Is he going to die? Like I really loved the jeopardy of it.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
all of that, and it's highly complex. It's a really rewarding, because sometimes I feel like some of the C dramas I've watched, um, although they're very long, they got very saggy and baggy in the middle. Like they pick it up, they're very strong at the start, they pick it up at the end, but the middle can be a bit like,
Yeah.
"Oh, why are we having all these extraneous scenes about people that I don't really care about?"
Hmm.
That does
Hmm.
not happen in Nirvana and Fire. Like for me, like
Mm.
54 episodes, all killer, basically. Just full
Yeah.
of plot, full of really great characters doing really amazing things. And I didn't get bored. Like there wasn't a point in the drama when I was just like, oh God, what next? Like, when are we gonna get on? Which is how I have felt
Yeah.
with dramas,
Yeah.
some other dramas. So yeah, that was kind of in a nutshell my drama experience with this.
You were saying about the male lead not having a single fight scene, and it's very interesting because he does sort of fight, but he just uses his brain to do it
Exactly,
instead.
exactly.
And that is rare. I think the only other place that I have seen it is the story of Kuning Palace, where the male lead, Zhang Ling He, he is not a fighter. He uses his brain. And then everybody else, like he has people that protect him, which kind of like, is sort of similar to what happens here in Nirvana in Fire, where our male lead kind of uses his brain to move things and make things happen, and then he has people around him that do the fighting. So, and even so, you don't really see, there's a couple of epic fight scenes, but overall, it is basically in house, in the palace, so to speak. Now for me, I it took me a little while to get into this drama, and I have been psyching myself up to watch this for years now because I don't think there is no way I would advise a new beginner to see dramas to go watch Nirvana in Fire. There's
No.
just,
Yeah.
there's some people that appreciate this genre that will go in and they'll be absolutely fine with it. But for the majority of beginners to Chinese dramas, this is not your jam to speak.
No.
I think it takes a little bit of time for people to work out like how to watch Nirvana in Fire. And this is not a drama that I personally could binge. I was watching a couple of episodes, during the weekend sort of thing, because I get home and I'm pretty tired and I feel like I need my full brain to watch this drama in a sense. Because it's like a lot of things are happening and a lot of intricate things are happening. And there's a lot of pieces moving. And I do wonder, I feel like this is also one of those dramas where if you watch it a second and a third time, there will
Yeah.
be new things that you will be picking up every single time. Because there's so much I don't know, intricacies to the story itself. It is like a masterclass in how to do politics, I
Yes.
think.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, because it's so well done. So I ended up really, really enjoying it, but it did take me a little while to get there. Because I was like, first of all, it's like who's who, and there's this prince, and there's that prince, and there's this concubine, and there's this, and it's like who is who? Who am I supposed to like? Who am I not supposed to like? And there's like a marquise here, and I don't know. There's so many characters, and the thing is, the acting is on par for for pretty much all of the actors. So it's not like there's like a weak point that you can sort of poke your fingers into. And that actually leads us quite nicely into the next question, which is like, how did you find the acting? And for me, this was like ridiculously good acting. Especially from actors like Hugo, who is like he doesn't have a fight scene. A lot of the time, the man is just like expressing, he's pretty frail, but yet he still comes across as a pretty powerful and imposing character at the same time, even, behind all of it. So I think this was really, really good acting done by, what I think are veteran actors. There's just no other way to sort of say. So what did you think about the acting, Sarah?
I thought this cast was amazing. I mean, I
Mm,
think this is, I think you can see from kind of if you went to MDL and go into the characters, the actors themselves, and the weight of dramas they've got, these are proper veterans. And for me, it felt like, I mean, if I compare it to kind of contemporary C dramas where you maybe have, or rather C dramas of recent periods, what you have, I feel like you have is like some stars, and then
yes.
you have like kind of second rate or second tier kind of fill out the rest of the cast.
Hmm,
Like
hmm.
this is a drama where so many of the people, right down to pretty side characters, are stellar
Yeah.
cast people. So it gives the drama a real weight. So I felt there was a real weightiness to the cast that then
Mhm.
lent the weightiness to the drama. And they're just proper serious actors. And I think obviously they must have really enjoyed, I think, playing off of each other as well. So it felt like everybody brought their A game to this
Yeah.
drama. So they
Yeah.
were A game actors anyway, and then they came together and they became like even more A game
Hmm,
um
hmm.
together. So yeah, they were a massive part of why I enjoyed this drama. They really
Yeah.
sold a lot of, the things that we kind of came to love about but I came to love about the drama. A lot of it was because of how they played it and how much they made me care, and how much they convinced me, of their characters. So I think one of the drama's things that I think it did really, really well is that although there are the good people and there are the bad people, and you could kind of say, well, these guys were the, I think it I had so much empathy for characters that were doing bad stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. There's a
Even
lot of gray area.
there is a lot of gray. I mean, even the Emperor, who is, in some ways like unforgivable things that he's done.
Hmm.
Um, but he's just played, you know, with such kind of gravitas, um, and empathy that you then
Hmm.
begin to see, like, I see why you thought your way was the only way.
Yeah,
I,
yeah, yeah.
like I get it. Um, and I felt for him, even though he'd done kind of very evil and
Couple
unspeakable
things.
things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I completely agree. It was a stellar cast, and in a drama like this, I feel like you need the cast to be really good because if you, I mean, if we just look at it, it's basically a guy who wants to bring down the regime almost and take revenge for what happened. That is like the crux of the storyline. So if the acting is not good, then this drama would be nowhere near as good as it is. This is one of those where it feels like I always say for a drama to be really, really good and appreciated across the board, it needs to have good directing, good writing, and good acting. And I feel like this is good on all three bases. So
yes.
it just becomes something that's really good and can be enjoyed by various people. So I totally agree. So costume sets and OST. Now, the OST, there's not really a lot of it. I think
No,
it's more like BGM, background music sort of thing,
I agree.
rather than OST. The costumes and the sets, taking into account that this is a 2014, because like it came out in 2015, but it was filmed in 2014. Some of these costumes are stunning.
They are.
I was so impressed, so impressed. And the amount, like a lot of them changed their outfits throughout the whole drama. So you can just tell this was a high budget drama because back then, I watched Princess Wei Young, which I think is a 20, I think it might be slightly earlier for Princess Wei Young. I can't actually quite remember when it came out. I'm just double checking. Let me just see. Princess Wei Young.
It's 2016.
2016. So it was filmed probably in 2015. And their costumes are pretty, but they don't change their costumes that often. Whereas Nirvana in Fire, you have like a whole array of costumes. And because so much of it is spent in the palace, it's like high, high, beautiful costumes. So I really, really like the sets for this were really, really nice. All of them. There's just like beautifully beautiful sets for this, beautiful backgrounds for the mountains and things like that. So I think all of that was done so nicely. Um that that I don't really have a lot to comment. What about you, Sarah? What did you think?
No, I agree with everything that you said. I
Mm.
think the OST again, like you said, it was more background music. I think I liked that. Obviously, we got the trans. I watched on Viki, so they did the translations of the songs, and I thought the songs were
Yes,
very.
yes.
They're very, they're based on the themes of the drama. So
Hmm.
they were nice. I do really love all of the styling for Hugo because he looks really good in blue, and they had
He
him in blue
does.
a lot, and
They did.
and because he's very ill, so especially in snowy winter weather, he had to have lots of furs around him,
Yeah, yeah.
to keep him warm and stuff. So he just looks, and his like he is one of the most beautiful men in C dramas. Like in terms of like the
Mm-hmm.
classic, like I think he's like a Shunbin kind of like equivalent for me. That kind
Yeah.
of very classically Cary Grant kind of handsome.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I think because of like he is. he doesn't need any styling, basically. He's like
No,
very
no,
basic styled and he is
he
just
is.
beautiful. And that's enough, because he is like
Mm.
it actually just shows off his kind of his looks even more. And then we talked about uh Nihong having like such an amazing set of costumes. But I
I
also really
loved her
I
costumes.
loved her
I
costumes.
adored her costumes. They were some of my favorites in
And
the whole
the
drama.
And I thought the hair pieces as well, because I think some of like
Mm,
some more modern kind of historicals have gone a bit like nuts with hair pieces.
yeah,
So like hers is like it fits the period because obviously being a Xianxia, it's not a fantasy drama, so you can't have these ridiculously like fantastical
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
hair pieces. It's got to look like something somebody might actually wear,
Hmm.
back in the day. And so I think they did a really nice job of making that. But I also want to raise like Prince Jing, I think had a really good outfit arc that fit with the
Hmm.
arc of
Hmm.
his character. So,
Yeah.
and he also looked, but probably my favorite though, the one I'm really going to shout out is General Meng. And Meng is like his army like battle gear. So there is one, I'm not
Yeah.
doing spoilers, there is one big battle, one huge kind of like we're building this up. This is going to be
Hmm.
like, Lord of the Rings type, the battle scene type thing. And he comes out with this like full on armor. It looks almost like, samurai. It's like
Yeah.
that kind of heavy and he's, there's loads of shots of him just looking fierce as hell, staring at the camera, about to like basically lay his life down, right, for this battle. And he
Hmm.
just
Hmm.
looks so fierce. And that's like those are some of my favorite memories of like a costume from the series.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's really, really beautifully done. And actually leading into the next question, do you think it still holds in 2024? I actually do, because not only is it so well written, so like well plotted out, like there's not really any not loopholes. There's not like any, what's the word I'm looking for?
Plot holes.
Anything, yeah, plot holes, yeah. That is like that it's tidily done. It's
It is, yeah.
nicely done. And like I said, the only thing you can tell, there's only a couple of things that I could tell that would date this. One of them being that they speak very slowly and that there's some parts where you can absolutely tell it was dubbed. Because the dubbing back then, I just don't think it's as good as it is now. Now, a lot of dramas you can barely tell that
Yeah.
they're dubbed unless you know the actor and the actress. And a lot more dramas are being done on set as opposed to being done, post
Post-production. Yeah.
production. So that's something that would date it slightly. And the only thing, like I said, is they speak very slowly. There's a lots of scenes where there's almost like long breaks between somebody speaking. But I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I just think that that's something different that they did back then that they don't necessarily do nowadays. But apart from that, and the fact that the resolution on the video is,
Yeah.
it's obviously not a 2024 resolution, let's put it that way. But even saying that, it's not that bad.
No.
I also want to shout out the beginning credits because I think
Mm.
they're really nicely done. They're beautifully done, especially for like the animation, because it's all animation for the sort of beginning credits. And I really, really like when they do that, as opposed to when Chinese Drama Land was going through a stage where the beginning credits was basically scenes from the drama, and you could tell the whole show just from the beginning credits alone. Um, so I really, really appreciate it, but I do really do think it would still stand in 2024. How about you, Sarah?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with all of that. I think the fact that obviously it's a wuxia, there isn't so much CGI because I think CGI often
Mhm.
ages stuff. So they do have some special effects. They are kind of 2014 kind of clunk, but they don't really impact your viewing experience because they
No.
kind of the some of the flying scenes might be a bit like okay, but there aren't like tons and tons of them. They're not actually asking you to believe like loads of CGI fight scenes. The fight scenes they have are proper martial art fight scenes, and they
Mhm.
hold
Mhm.
up. they hold up great. But yeah, exactly. I totally agree with you that it's so tightly plotted and really, really, really well done. So yeah, no, I think this is going to be a classic for a long time, because of
Yeah.
everything, everything that we said, just adds to the weight of it.
Mm. Right. And so, lastly, on our questions for, the spoiler free, who would you recommend this drama to? Now, like I said, I would not recommend this to a beginner. I would also not recommend this to somebody who only enjoys romance. That's
Yes,
definitely not what this drama is about. You
definitely
have
not.
to enjoy, no, you have to enjoy politics and well plotted dramas. There's no way around it because that's what this drama at the end of the day is about, is politics and development in characters. That's something that's really good in this drama. But it is heavily about politics, and I feel like you need to kind of enjoy that, but also I feel like you need to at least have watched a few a few historical Chinese dramas, because even for me, it was like, and I've been watching dramas for almost 6 years now, Chinese dramas for almost 6 years now, and I've watched countless historical dramas at this point. And even for me, I was like, for the first 10 episodes, I was like, who's this? Who's that? Where did you come from? Like it is a little bit like that because
Yeah,
the cast is extensive
yeah,
and there's a lot of moving parts. But it's, if you enjoy that sort of thing, then definitely watch this.
yes,
Um, yeah. So
yeah.
who who would
I
you recommend it to,
Yeah,
Sarah?
I totally agree with what you've said. I mean, first of all, basically, Mei Changsu is a grand master in chess. Like that
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
so one of the
Mm-hmm.
core things about this drama that is so enjoyable is watching, because this is a man that's lost his clan, his father, um, and effectively his own life, really, even though he's technically alive now. His fiance, his whole life basically has been changed
Yeah.
by a decision by this emperor. So this is a long game, a cold game of revenge that he has plotted
Mm-hmm.
for decades. And we watch it unfold. And obviously, at the start, we have no idea what he's doing. We no idea how
Exactly.
smart. We just don't know what's going on. Unless, as Liliana says, there's loads and loads of people you don't even know. But then and this is why I think you also say that it would be a very rewarding second watch, because then you would know the end game, and then you could
Mm-hmm.
go back to the beginning and go, that's why he did that, or that's why
Yeah.
he did that. So it's one of those dramas that you like, things happen and you're like, why did he do that? Like, why did he do
Mm-hmm.
that? That's just so puzzling. And then, like, a few episodes later, you're like, oh, I see. It was
That
all
makes
part of
sense
this.
now.
It's
Yeah.
all part of this grand reshuffle of stuff he was got in
Mm-hmm.
his
Mm-hmm.
brain, of like he was going to move these people to make them influence these people, and then this was going to make that happen, and I was going to gain. I'm going to gain another rung on the ladder of my aim of getting rid of this emperor and putting in, um, someone who I think is fit to be the emperor, and someone who has the integrity and the morals and the values that I believe, an emperor should have. And that's his long game, right? And so I think you would enjoy it, like, as Linnea said, you have to love the you have to enjoy this kind of policy, but it's not court politics per se. Like, I think
No.
like, if you're coming from a K-drama space, like, I think a lot of the kind of Chosun kind of court saguk time dramas are very heavy, like the left minister's always trying to like be all evil, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
there is definitely that. But I think when we say politics, what we mean is this kind of plotting, this kind of grand strategic, I'm going to manipulate a set of characters to do what I want. And
Yeah.
we as the viewer do not know what that plot is. And we kind of know a little bit, we know enough to care, but we're in this whole drama watching it all unfold, and then go, okay, I get it. I get why he's done that. And I think that's, personally, I love that. I love that kind of, like, I can
Mm-hmm.
sit back. I'm not trying to plot things out. I mean, even the kind of person who does like guessing plots, that's also very enjoyable. But for me, I was just like very much like enjoying the spectacle of like all the things he was doing, all the chess pieces he was moving, and where they were going to end up.
Yeah. I think actually you just touched on something. A lot of Chinese historicals, tend to be like that. And I mean, not your fluffy Chinese historicals, but your proper Chinese historicals. They tend to be about politics, but not like left minister, right minister type of politics. They tend to be this type of politics
Yeah.
where people are very, very clever and they are working to an end goal that you don't necessarily know what it is. And like I mentioned it earlier on, but Joy of Life exactly like this in that aspect that these characters are just so clever and they're doing things and you're thinking, why? And then like a couple of episodes later it tweaks and it's like they make their next move and
Mm,
I I don't mind politics. I enjoy them if they're done like this, where it's a huge chessboard
yes.
and they are just moving pieces. And I really, really enjoy stuff like that. Um, way, way more than if it was just, this minister trying to get more power over that minister. That's not necessarily the type of politics that I tend to enjoy as much. So yeah, definitely need to enjoy politics. That's the main takeaway
Yeah.
for this.
Yeah.
And watch it at your own pace. I know some people can binge it. I know some people I couldn't. I think you watched it quite quickly, didn't
I
you,
did.
Sarah?
I ended up,
Yeah.
I didn't binge it because it's not a very bingeable drama.
Yeah, I
I
don't think it
did,
is.
but I did watch, because I thought I would have to watch it quite slowly just because I
I know.
knew it was quite dense. But actually,
Yeah.
some of it is really exciting. So, for example, these chess games that we're kind of alluding to, metaphorically anyway, I
Yeah.
would find that when I was in them, I just had to watch the next one to work out what his whole plan was.
Yeah.
Like I really got into it and just thought, like,
Hmm.
I really want to know what it is that you're doing. I want to know how it ends up. And yeah, so that would drive me on. Then I'd need a bit of a break. And then, so it
Hmm.
would be
Hmm.
like 5 or 6 episodes would tell me that story of that thing that he was planning, and
Yeah.
then a bit of a break, and then I'd be like drawn into the next kind of plot that he had. So that was kind of, yeah. So but it definitely isn't a bingeable drama. I'd agree with that.
No, no. Yeah, I think it's like take it at your own pace type of thing and yeah, that's what I did. I would watch some episodes at the weekend, like you said. I'd get like an arc or two in and then like I'd wait for the week and then like go back and watch the next sort of arc.
Yeah.
Because I think Chinese dramas do this quite well actually, where they sort of almost have the story in arcs, like mini arcs. So you can almost watch them like this arc and then the next arc. So it works out quite well, I think. So
Sorry. So I just had
let's
just a couple more things. So one
go
was that
for it. Go for it.
one I would also say is that if you like your men in dramas to be a bit more mature and kind of manly and buff,
Hmm. Hmm.
this might work for you. This is not solidly not a romance drama. I think we've said that. So if you're coming for
No.
romance, do not start this drama. But if you quite like eye candy on the screen whilst you're watching a drama and you like them in the form of mature, more manly heroes, then there are like both obviously Mei Chang-sul is he's got this kind of like gentleman's aesthetic, so he's very classically good looking, kind of like a Bond hero look. I feel
Yeah.
from him. But then also Prince Jing is he's incredibly good looking. So
I was gonna say he's so good looking.
so
He's
good
so
looking.
good
He's so good
looking.
looking. So he plays a very solid, almost stolid, kind of ethical leader. So he's very, like very serious, and then there's like Commander Meng, who is also very good looking, but in a
Yeah.
very kind of warrior way. So he's like
Hmm.
the action hero. He's like the guy who's going to fight like 50 people for you.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
and then if you want to crush on a very young looking Wu, then he's there too.
Wule. So young. So young.
So young.
Goodness.
Oh, so it is the cast is nearly all predominantly male, but women that they do have are also really strong characters. So
Hmm.
Ni Huang we've mentioned, but also Xia Dong is she is I guess an investigator for the that kind of
Yes.
period,
Yeah,
um
yeah.
like an investigation bureau. She's really good. And then Jing Fei is the mother of Prince Jing, and she's a concubine, and she's an
I really liked her
incredibly,
character.
yeah. And obviously we got at the start we don't know who she is, and at the end it's just like,
No.
wow, you are one smart cookie and amazing. So
Hmm.
there are few women, but the women that are in it are kick-ass in different ways.
Yes, yes. So that is that. Shall we do some ratings now?
Yes.
I have one teacup is it's something I watched. It wasn't good, but something made me finish, and that's like your equivalent to one to 5.5 on MDL. Two teacups is the okay one, so I don't really recommend, but they were an okay background watch, and this is like your 6 to 7 on MDL. Three teacups is the enjoyable ones. Good dramas. They were enjoyable, and I would recommend to people who enjoy this genre. And that is 7.5 to 8 on MDL. Four teacups is the loved ones. These are dramas that I really loved. There might be a couple of problems with it, but overall, a really enjoyable drama that I would recommend to a wider audience. And that's like 8.5 to a 9.5 on MDL. And then, like, lastly, as a five teacup, these are like what I like to call the rose glass no fault dramas, by which I mean the rating is reserved for those dramas that you love so much that you are willing to ignore any problems they may have. So these are like your dramas that you know they like realistically speaking, you know there's problems with them, but you just adore them so much that you don't really care. So for me, I think I would rate this a 4 teacup. So not quite a five. And realistically speaking, for me, it's because it is dense. It is a lot of politics. And that is not necessarily the genre I tend to watch. But I felt immensely proud of myself when I pressed play on that last episode. I felt immensely proud of myself that I was like, oh my gosh, I actually finished it. I think this is the type of drama that it is a classic, and it is one that when people say you should at least try to watch it once, you should at least try to watch it once. I feel like it's the epitome of uh, historical, political Chinese dramas, and yeah, that's why I think I would go for, because, and mainly because it doesn't cross over into those dramas that I'm like completely obsessed with. But that's not to say it's to do with the drama. It's that the fact that it's not a genre that I tend to go for. Um, you know, mostly. But that's my rating. What about you, Sarah?
Mine's a solid five. Five
Yeah.
teacups. Yes. I
Yeah.
love this drama.
Yeah.
Yes.
See that's but that's what the five teacups are. It's just like those dramas that you just love to no end, and that's. So should we get into some spoilers? Because I think
Yes.
it's time to to talk some spoilers. I've just put some stuff down, like, but we can just go in any order, any. It doesn't, we don't have to follow the structure that is there. That's just some things to sort of bounce off of. And I think we should probably start with just talking about characters
Mm.
and which ones really stood out. We sort of already touched on it, but we couldn't really go too much into detail because it was the non-spoiler section. Now, guys, if you don't want to be spoiled, go watch the drama and come back and then listen on. Or if you don't mind spoilers, listen on. But you guys know I'm a lover of spoilers, and I would say I highly recommend you watch this one before you sort of go ahead and check out the spoiler section. But yeah, so Sarah, if you had to choose one character, which one would you go for straight away?
Like my favorite character. Oh, it's so hard because
It's
I
really
really
hard, isn't
I
it? It's
it's so
really,
hard
really hard.
because I love so many of them. I just I think Mei Chang-su is the kind of obvious one, but he's almost like too obvious. And in some ways, he is because he's such a strategic genius. Um, so you admire him, but you don't necessarily like warmly love him. Does that make
No,
sense?
you don't.
Like he
Yes.
is, you admire his intelligence and his smarts. Um, but in terms of who stole my heart, probably it would have to be like Commander Mung or General Mung.
Mm.
Mung's,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He would be because he is like often he's the comedic kind of break
Relief.
comedic
Yeah.
relief. Yeah. So he'll come into a scene and especially ones between like Mei Chang-soo and Jing Yan when they're kind of like talking about, and obviously they have the big secret between them, which basically lasts
Mm-hmm.
almost the entire drama. So
Yeah.
you've got this thing where like Jing Yan is basically pretty much the like towards the end of the drama, he is the only person that does not know who Mei
Who
Chang-soo
he
is.
is.
And it's just I felt really bad for him. But often in scenes where it's kind of getting a bit intense between the two, like General Mung would come in and he'd be like the comic relief. So I really like, and then
Mm-hmm.
but then when obviously when things get serious and you need to kick a load of people's ass in a big battleground scene, he's there like
It's him.
fierce.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah. It's
he's
him.
probably my favorite of the main cast.
Yeah. I think for me it's really hard because I think, like you said, there is something to admire about Mei Chang-soo. There's just like I said, I admire his character, but I don't necessarily um warm up to his character enough because he has his plan. And I do really actually appreciate the fact that he has his plan and there is nothing that is going to dissuade him from following on what he's there to do. He knows he's really short on time. He knows he's not going to survive very much longer. And now we're in the spoilers. It's fine to say that the man is not going to live through the drama. We see him towards the end, but we obviously know that, he doesn't stay alive past the end of the drama. And I think you sort of don't warm up, like you said. Now, for me, I think I would go from the main cast. I would then go for the Duchess,
Mm,
Min Huang, just because I really like her character. But if I was to say, she is also kind of like an obvious one, but I really, really, really liked her character. I liked how steadfast she was, how
yes.
clever she was. The fact that she's the first one almost to figure out who he
Yes.
is.
Yes. Yeah.
And she's like, I know this is you, even though you refuse to, say it to me. And actually, that's one of my favorite scenes. I've written it down. It's episode 12 when she confronts him and she's like, I know who you are. You're refusing to like say who you are and confirm it, but I know who you are. And the fact that she's so clever. She can almost go toe to toe with him in a sense, but
Yes.
she's also very fierce in war. I just like that you can see her as the soft female and
Yes.
this badass character as well. I
Yeah.
love that she's multifaceted. And that's so rare in dramas because like women
Yes.
are either strong because they are really good fighters or they're strong because they're emotional or whatever it may be, but she's both. And
Yes.
I really 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 like that. So I think if I were to go, even though this cast is like men, I would say her character really, really, really stands out to me. I just really liked it. I did. And there was something instantly about her character that I kind of like clicked with. And as the show went on, it grew even more. And it's the fact that she knows who he is. She's obviously in love with him and has been for a very long time, but she's never like, stop what you're doing. She's
Yeah.
never, trying to get in his way. She trusts him to do what he needs to do and she knows this is what he needs to do. So I just really really loved her character all around. So if I was to pick like off, the very very main characters, I think I would go for her.
Yes.
Now, if we're going full cast,
Yes.
Consort Jing, I love
I
Consort
love
Jing as
her. I
well
love her. She was great.
because she just sort of comes in and you don't really see her in the first couple of episodes, I can't quite remember, but I don't think it's until much later on that she truly comes into the picture.
Yes.
And at the beginning, you sort of just see almost like this meek background character almost. But as the drama goes on, she really like you really get to see where her strength comes from. And I really, really liked her character. Um, what other characters would you say for you,
No,
Sarah?
I really liked Consort Jin as well. But I did also I had a soft spot for Jingwei.
Mm,
So Jingwei is actually the reason, well, the reason that Mei Chang-soo kind of like manipulates obviously into happening. But he's the reason why he's invited into the Jiang Kingdom and then the court
mm.
himself. So I think they both had quite like him and his friend Eugene had and they look really similar, so it was always really confusing at the start. Did you find this?
They do,
Like they were
yes.
constantly together. They were constantly together, but looked like the same people. So it was like it took me ages to work out who was
And
the it was like who was the guy that actually invited Mei Chang-soo and then the other guy was his friend. But I couldn't remember. Like it took me ages to work out who was who.
and they had very similar stylings as
Yeah, they
well
did
for and I was
exactly.
like,
"Yeah,
why put them in very different?
yeah,
This
exactly.
is already
Give them
hard
give
enough.
them different color palettes. Exactly. I
Yeah,
mean, in
yeah,
some ways they were playing true to the period, I guess, in that they were the same kind of princelings of the same status
yeah.
and therefore were dressed very similarly with the same hairdos. So, but at the time I was just like, come on, guys, I can't work out who's
I
who.
need a little help here.
Needed a little help here. But I think he had a great character arc.
Mhm.
And obviously his story is foreshadowed quite early on, I think.
Yeah.
You have a really good quote, um, I think that I saw in the script, if you wanted to give for episode 26 that I think you said.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
Jingray is so it says Jingray is the most accepting person that I have ever seen. Maybe God gave him this magnanimous and forgiving personality to offset all the pain he will have to suffer. And that's
yes,
on Xiao Jingru before leaving the city after knowing about the truth of his birth.
yeah,
So yeah, his and actually speaking about this is one of the things that I think is so well done about this drama. Yes, he's secondary cast. He's not main cast, he's secondary cast. But yet his storyline is so interesting.
yeah,
And this is the thing about Nirvana in Fire. Ultimately, to me, is there is no wasted character. Every character is there for a reason and it's fleshed out characters. It's not
yes,
like they're not plot devices, they are characters with stories that you end up sort of falling in love with. So, whereas at the beginning, you may go into this and think, oh my God, there's so many characters. How am I ever gonna figure, who's what? Why are they here? But then, like, you sort of get into the groove of it and you realize, oh, actually, they all tie in together and they
yes.
all
They're
fit
all
into this
connected. Yeah,
grand scheme. So it's one of the things that I appreciate the most about this drama because so often we see that characters are used as like a means to a ways to a means, to get somewhere that the story needs to get. So I really, really enjoyed, and his character was really good. Like his storyline was fairly fascinating.
it
So
was.
yeah,
Yeah.
I did enjoy
I
his character.
I did feel a bit
Um
sorry for him though, because towards the second half of the drama, they move him off, obviously back to his kind of, I guess,
mhm,
birth family. But it means like he misses this epic battle. And I remember like
he
watching the epic battle,
does.
going like, oh, like
He
Jingray
should
would
have
have
been
loved. He
there.
should have been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really felt for him because I'm like, these are all his friends fighting for a cause that he would want to fight for, and he's missed it
Mhm.
all. And obviously, yeah,
Yeah.
and they were like so massively outnumbered. I was like, why have you not got Jingray with you? But anyway, yeah, he,
But that so when all of this of his storyline comes out, I think I actually noted and I didn't put it here, but I actually noted it down in my notes. It's around about episode 20 or so where they have that big hoorah at the Marquis's house that you sort of then
yes,
figure out It's quite a lengthy part of the show.
Yes.
Because you spend, like you said, so that quote is from episode 26. So you spend a good, 5, 6 episodes in that sort of, like I said, in that arc almost of his. And it's one of my favorite parts of the drama, actually, because it's just like, it is the chess unfolding completely. Because it's like they are literally pulling at strings in that scene. And it's, you have these characters here that are pulling one way and those characters there that are pulling another way. So I found that really, really interesting in that part of the drama. So yeah, I think for characters, there's so many and they're all so good. This is the
Yes.
thing. You could literally spend hours on end just talking about characters because it's so well done. Um, but but yeah. So that's just some sort of. Have you got any other characters that you'd really, really think you'd want to shout out?
The bad guys. I'm gonna say the
Yeah.
bad guys were brilliant. So shout out to, Marcus Sierra, who I think
Hmm.
we already mentioned that actor was in Reset. I thought he was
Hmm.
just so good because he is
Oh,
properly evil. But when he's
he
like
really
science, he is
is.
properly evil and plotted, but he was evil in a clever way. So I like that. Like I
Hmm.
full of admiration for a smart evil villain. But even so, when he's writing his confession, right before he leaves and he's chained, and his son, like, so
Yes.
Jingray is his son. So Jingray, his non-biological son, Jingray like rushing out to kind of like see him. He's just like forlorn that his father's kind of fallen from grace and lose has lost. And even then, when in other dramas, I might have gone like, yeah, well, you deserved it. You're such a shitbag. I remember
Hmm.
thinking like for him, I was like, I feel for him, like he's done
Yeah.
evil stuff, but I feel for him.
Yeah.
And then similar with the Emperor, which I've already spoken about, but also Xia Jiang, who is the ultimate baddie, right?
Hmm.
At the end, like he's the head of the investigative bureau, but then obviously we realize that he was massively involved in killing Mei Changshu's clan and dad. So he was also really good. And so he kind of took up the mantle of smart, clever villain
Hmm.
when
Hmm.
Marcosia got kind of
Voted
banished.
off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I just the villains were just so good, so strong, so believable, so made me empathetic. So yeah, well
Hmm.
well done to all of them.
Yeah. I actually have one of the scenes, when this is really, really towards the end. So it's episode 45, and it's when Prince Yu gets imprisoned
Ah,
and he's
yes.
like in this little cell. And I had to write that. I just literally wrote it down very quickly because the acting in that scene, like you could believe that he was not well. He was not a stable person right
Yes.
there. And it's like him completely falling apart. And I really, really like that scene because it's like you said, yes, they're not good characters, but you still feel for them.
Yes.
Um, so that's one of the scenes that I also sort of wrote down, just because the acting in that was just so good. Because there's that scene specifically as well where he's in the cage and the emperor goes to see him, and it's just like he's been turned into almost this wild thing because he's like in this
Yes.
very tiny cage. His clothes are starting to become ragged and whatnot. So it was quite an intense scene, I thought. But it was so well done.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, so that's, I think, like you said, every character in this is used for a reason and they have a story and you kind of feel for them at the end of the day, even if they are horrible people. So
Yes.
that takes really good writing and really good acting for you to still be able to empathize with a character, knowing full well that they are not good people.
No, and they've not done good
So,
things. Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
no,
absolutely.
no,
I agree.
no. So we just have down some favorite scenes or some favorite quotes. I've mentioned a lot of the ones that I have down already. But I one of the ones that I sort of put down is every time someone discovers the identity of our male lead,
Yes.
especially when it came to Prince Jing and Consort Jing when they sort of like found out. But just in general, every time that they find out his real identity was a scene that I really appreciated because it's almost like somebody else coming into the fold, and you just see a vast difference of what's the word I'm looking for? Vast difference of reactions to that confirmation. So I really, really liked those scenes specifically.
Yeah, and
So yeah.
on that, I also really loved because obviously, as we've mentioned, Jing Yan doesn't find out till late that he
Mm.
is Lin Shu. Um, and so I really like the scene where I think he's very heavily drugged and he loses he's just always utterly in control as Mei Chang-sul.
Yeah.
So he's always as his persona is Mei Chang-sul,
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
is, the strategist, and for a
Mm-hmm,
lot of
mm-hmm.
a lot of the drama, Prince Jing he doesn't admire him because he basically says,
No.
I don't want to work with you. I hate people like you who are kind of here to kind of manipulate people and get them to do what you want. Yeah, and obviously he does eventually come around to working with him, but it's very begrudging. It's really like
Yeah.
you have no values, you have no morals, and so he has to take all of this from his, best friend, his childhood friend, and he's kind of his brother, I guess, brother in arms. And he has to soak it all, and he does, like, always kind of like he doesn't show his feelings. He always keeps them well hidden. But then there's one scene when he'd got very ill, so he's drugged, and he just looks up and sees Prince Jing, and he just says Jing Yana. So it's like
Yeah.
obviously the way that he refers to him, as his friend, as his childhood friend,
Mm-hmm,
rather than,
mm-hmm.
and then you see like Jing Yan's eyes suddenly go, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah. What
who
is
is
happening? Yeah.
yeah, what's happening? Like, why is he? Because he obviously he is very familiar to him, but it's coming from this Mei Chang-su character that he
Mm-hmm,
thought he
mm-hmm.
knew, and like obviously for him, it's like his best friend's dead. He's been dead for a very long
Yeah.
time. So, but
Yeah.
suddenly, so I just loved that scene because it was three words. He just said "Jing na." Yeah, that's all he said,
Yeah.
and it was really like, yeah, that was great.
Again, that scene is one of those scenes that the show that just shows how good these actors are, that they barely need any words for them to make such a powerful and impactful scene. On the other
Absolutely.
flip side of the scene that you were mentioning, I have one down where basically like Jing Yan is just he gives up on believing on in Mei Chang-su. He's just like I'm done, and Mei Chang-su shouts at him, Xiao Jingyan, stop right there. And he kind of like he berates him and he's berating him in Lin Shu's name. He kind of like uses Lin Shu's name to tell him off. And he still refuses to admit. And it's one of those scenes where as a watcher, you get so frustrated because you're like, just tell him, just tell
Yes.
this poor guy who you are. He has been beating himself up for years, and all he wants is this case to be reopened. And it's just like he's throwing everything at it.
Yeah.
And you just want him to know, like at that time. So I really, really like that scene because although I was so frustrated at it, I was still like, I can still sort of understand where these characters are coming from because to him, that's his friend that like both to Mei Chang-su, that's his friend. And if he truly lets go of that persona, I feel like he almost is scared to drive off the path that he knows he wants to be on because
Yes.
these people are the only people who can sort of dissuade him otherwise. And he just cannot, even contemplate that. So I think that's why he holds his what's the word his identity so close to him
Yes.
and
Yeah.
why he refuses so wholeheartedly to tell anybody because most of the people who do discover they discover it by themselves, like it's not him telling them,
No.
it's
Yeah.
these people kind of discovering it. So I I really, really, really did appreciate because it's one of those things that I'm so frustrated at the male lead, but I can also so understand where he's coming from. Again,
Yeah,
it's just good writing
it's
because it's
really good
like,
writing.
yeah, you can feel different emotions and still, you know, appreciate where everybody's sort of coming from. So
Yeah,
that was another one that I really, really, really liked.
yeah.
I have
I agree with that.
I have a scene down, and to me, I just loved it. It's episode like 43, 44, where they are all stuck in that hall and they are
Yes,
really outnumbered, and then the
yes.
Duchess comes in
I
and kind of like
know. Yeah,
saves the day.
I love it.
I loved that scene so much because it's just like it's not looking great for them at all. And then to have a woman come in and save the day, I was just like, I this is like equality. Like I love this so much because that type of scene normally in a Chinese drama belongs to the male lead or belongs to
Exactly.
like a male character. To have a female general kind of like walk in and to be, you know, her saving the day completely,
Yes.
I really, 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 really liked it. And then that leads to then one of the scenes that I think is really, really powerful and I adored it. It's the scene where they finally sort of push the emperor into the corner of he has to reopen this case.
Mm,
And that scene is about, I think, 2 or 3 episodes long, but
mm.
it needs that much because this is kind of what everything is leading towards, apart from, you know, making sure that Prince Jing is the one that takes over as emperor and becomes crown prince and whatnot. But this is one of the main things that this drama's sort of been gearing up to do. And it's done so well because they kind of push him so badly against this corner. He has no choice. Like there's nowhere for him to go. And that whole confrontation scene where you finally get all the nitty-gritty details of what happened, and I really, really liked it. I really, really liked that one. So yeah,
Yeah.
that that was a good scene. And then I think the last one I've got for scenes is just the last confrontation between Lin Shu, because at that point he is Lin Shu and the Emperor. That whole scene there, because that's like the final nail in the coffin, so to speak. That's like, you know, he's done what he wanted to do. And he even says, I believe he even says to the Emperor, this is the last time you like we will ever meet.
Yes.
So yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
Have you got any
Um,
scenes you'd
it
like
would
to
only
bring
just
up, Sarah?
it would only just be probably nothing. I mean, I agree with lots of your favorite scenes were my favorite scenes, especially like you said
Mm,
with the Duchess. Like, I actually wrote that in my notes as well that she gets a hero's entrance. Like
I loved it. I
she's
just
shot
loved it.
like
Yeah.
like my equivalent is there's a scene in Lord of the Rings when Aragorn comes through like like a gate and like he's bathed
Yeah.
in light, like the savior, and
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's her.
that's what
I
she
loved
gets, yeah.
it.
And
I
I
loved
love that
it.
too. Yeah. So that
Yeah.
was really good. I did also this is a smaller scene, but I really liked that. So we found so Xiaodong's husband, who's turned into like a some kind of monkey thing from
Oh yes,
this
yes,
frostbite
yes,
poison. And yeah,
yeah.
when they're reunited, like it could have
Oh my
been
God, yes.
because his like he's got hair growing out of everywhere. He does look quite ridiculous. It is 2014. Obviously, they don't have like it's
Yeah,
not super
yeah, yeah.
superior kind of like and in so it could have been a bit comedy, but the way they played it, it was so emotional
Emotional,
and
yeah.
yeah, and I just felt really like this her husband that she'd mourned for all these years and had been trying to get revenge for was like in front of it. And I also really like the theme that we had in this drama that like these amazing warrior princes had got this kind of frostbite. Although I will say, I always find it funny that Lin Zhu loses his face, and of all the
Hmm.
faces he gets in the world, he gets Fulger's face. It's
Yeah,
like what an amazing fate that you get, like basically
forget,
one of
yeah.
the best looking Chinese men that has ever existed as your face. Like that is your fate.
Yeah.
Anyway, so obviously we have this theme that these people have transformed this frostbite poison or whatever, transformed their face so much that they're completely unrecognizable for, the case of Xiaodong's husband, whose name I've forgotten. I think it's Wei something. He's transformed into somebody like Wei Zheng, that's it. He has like hair all over his face. But they recognize them like almost immediately. It's just like,
Hmm. Hmm.
their love, like Nihuang's love and Xiaodong's love is so strong that they like, I know who
They
you are,
know.
even though
Yeah, I
even though
know who
you
you
look
are.
completely different. And I really liked that. And then obviously it's just the very, very last scene when
Yeah.
when we know that there is no miraculous cure. There is no miraculous cure for Mei Changsu.
Yeah,
He
he's
is going to
gone.
die.
Yeah.
He is going to die, and that he insists he wants to die as Lin Shu and not as
Yeah.
Mei Changsu, and he's been living the life of Mei Changsu for all the entire drama, but he's
Drama.
going to die as Lin Shu, and I really love that. And he finally donned some warrior,
Yeah.
armor,
Yeah.
and he got on his horse, and then he says his thing to Ni Huang, which I think
Hmm.
you've got the quote for. And
Yeah.
so powerful because also you're saying goodbye to that character, like that's it
Yeah.
for him.
Yeah.
He is choosing to go and die on a battlefield because that next to his best friend, which is how no, not next to his best friend. He's dying on a battlefield the way he wants to. And then the scene where he's basically having that fight with Jing Yan, that he's like, I went through all of this for you to rule. So you can't go
Yeah.
on a battlefield. Like we can't be on
No,
a
you
battlefield again
can't.
now. Like I've done all
No.
this work to make you an emperor. Like you now have to do your role, and I'm gonna go and die, basically.
Yeah, yeah,
But
basically that's what he says. But I also appreciate the fact that they all just sort of respect his wishes.
yes,
Even if they don't want to, they sort of end up respecting his wishes. I just think it's such a beautiful bond between these characters. It's such a strong, strong bond between these characters that you see blossoming more and more and more as the drama goes on. And by the end, it's just like these core characters that are so interlinked and so connected in so many ways that they just know each other on a very deep level. And I think it was just beautifully done. I was a little bit like surprised that that was the way he was going to like that his character was going to go, but
yeah,
also I feel like it's very poetic and
yeah,
very beautiful and very true to his character, if
yeah.
that makes sense.
It
So
does, yeah,
it's not like some dramas will just have, the character die off because of silly reasons.
yeah,
But I believe in this drama, it's one of those dramas where him dying off and in the way that he did, because it's exactly that. He died as Lin Chu in war. With his name restored and with his glory almost restored as well. I feel like it not only did he do himself proud, but he did his family proud and
yeah,
whatnot. I think it's just a very honorable way to go, which is what his character is at the end of the day. So I really appreciated that they did not shy away and come up. I feel like it would have. I don't know. I feel like it would have almost blunted it if they'd come up with a miracle cure and everything was like very nicely tidied and happy. I
yes,
just
very true,
almost
yeah,
feel like that wouldn't be in tow or in line with
yeah,
what we've been seeing for 54 episodes. So yeah, I was quite happy with that. That was, beautiful scene, beautiful.
yeah,
Well, I feel like towards the end, like episode 20 onwards, you get a lot of impactful scenes. Because I feel like, realistically speaking, first 15 episodes, you're plot setting, like you're
yes,
setting up the story. Like, if we're going to be honest, that is what it is. For 15, possibly even 20 episodes, but very much for 15, you're setting up the plot. But then once it's set up and it's ready to go, like these scenes start happening and it's very impactful scenes because you've had that plot set up. Um so yeah, I agree with that sort of sort of last scene. The quote that you were saying is you were talking about is they all say fate lasts for 3 lives. In the next life, I hope that we can be born into ordinary families and spend the rest of our lives together in peace. And that is Mei Changsu to Ni Huang before they went to battle. So it's like it's his sort of last words almost before he goes into battle. And I just think it's beautiful, you know,
Yes. Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful thing. So for
Yeah.
just some other quotes that I have done, I think I've already spoken about some, but one is in episode 22, and it says, if one dies, that's when they lose everything. Might as well consume everything in the fight. And that is Marquise Shi Yu to Princess Li Yang. And yeah, that's during the episode that they were surrounded. So it is like at the Marquise, house thing, art, so to speak, that happens. We've already talked about the, Jingray in episode 26, that quote. And then episode 33, succeeding will be up to fate, but I can't say that. Strategizing is up to people. And that I feel like so Prince Jing says that to Mei Chang Su. And I feel like that is this drama, you know, because succeeding, they are not guaranteed to for that to happen, but there's a lot of strategists and no one is as good as Mei Chang Su when it comes to strategizing. So yeah, I think I have one more down, and it's even though my heart has never changed for Ni Huang, but for this lifetime she and I cannot be together. I can't say these words to her. I'm afraid she will not be able to handle it. Nothing is absolute in the world. Life is difficult. You understand it. And that is Mei Ching Su to Shi Dong on basically on his love for Ni Huang. And that's like episode 48. And it is at its heart like this is not a romance story at all. There's like I don't know, a sliver of romance between these two, but it's tragic and it's meant to end in tragedy. But overall, I don't know. I really, 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 really loved a lot of things about this drama in general. Um, I think like we've already said about what this drama did well. We've already
Have,
talked
yes.
about lots of things. It did a lot of things. Is there anything you think it could improve on? Because there's really nothing for me on that aspect. Like, I think it's fairly good. The only thing I would have liked to seen is, like you said, is having Jingray back at with them
Battle
when
scene.
it
Yeah,
all
the
comes to
epic. Yeah.
fruition. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I felt
that's
like
not
he missed
like.
out the action on some of the action for
Mhm.
me. Yeah.
Mm. But that's not like, necessarily a big, big
No.
thing overall, because
No.
I don't think,
Yeah.
but apart from that, I don't think there's anything on for
Um,
me anyways.
yeah, for me it was more this is more of a heart thing because I don't know that drama needs it, but it was more just because I totally shared my frustration that you had about Jin Yen not being told that Mei
Hmm.
Chang-sul was
Hmm.
Lin Chu, and just keeping right even though like you said totally understood why for strategic tactical reasons he didn't want him to know, and also just knowing Jin Yan's character because he was so upright and so like ethical that he couldn't know sooner than that because then he wouldn't have gone on to do some of the things that they made him do. Like I
Hmm.
totally
Hmm.
understood all of that. But at the same time, I was always feeling so
Yeah.
bad for him because it was like, because yeah, right at the end, towards the end, it's like when his mum finds out, when Consort Jing finds out, she's like the last person who doesn't know.
Mm.
Everybody knows that is obviously of their, of their group. Like, we're not, not
Yeah,
telling
yeah,
all
yeah,
the
yeah,
baddies,
yeah,
but
yeah. Of
like
their group, yeah.
of their group, he's the only one who doesn't know. So I feel so bad for him. And then finally, when he does find out, I wish they got a scene together as friends, as brothers, and as like lifelong buddies. Like I
Yeah,
feel like I feel for Prince Jing basically that he got cheated out
yeah.
of it. Like he basically he found out and then effectively then Mei Chang Su says then
I'm
now,
off
but
to
you
war to
I'm
die.
off to war to die, and you got to stick and do your job because that's what you got to
Yeah,
do. And
yeah,
like, and you
yeah,
got to make, and he basically says, you got to make tough decisions. That's what happens now, you know? And I really
yeah,
felt for him. I was just like, geez,
yeah.
man, like the guy's only, he's just been through so much. He's only just found out that you've actually been alive all this bloody time and you've never been able to enjoy his company. Like, have one drink, one meal,
What? Yeah,
one
one scene.
evening where you get to have your friend back in your life just once. That's
Yeah,
all I want. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's not a kind of, not that's not a thing that the drama could improve per se. It's just my own heart
Mm-hmm.
wishing for
Yeah,
the
yeah.
thing that he got to have like his
That
buddy.
scene.
Yeah, that scene. Just one evening of time that he
Mhm.
spent with his friend getting drunk again, reliving their days and just having their back because he was so sad for
Mm.
so long. Yeah.
Just having that healing moment
Yes.
in retrospect.
Yeah.
So so yeah, I would agree actually. I would have really enjoyed a scene like that between them. But but yeah, have you got any last thoughts, Sarah? Any last things that you would like to mention?
Um, no, I have read some of the criticism, like some people that have, you know, uh, inexplicably don't love this drama as much as I do, and therefore do have things that they want to pick at. Like, I think that they might say that some of the things that happened were less about Mei Chang-su's kind of like intelligence and smarts, and some of it was just down to luck. Um,
Mm.
but I do also think that, that also reflects reality as well, because sometimes things happen that aren't,
Yeah.
you can't plot for everything, you can't control for everything. Um, and that either way, he always played the cards that he got given, whether or not he made them
Mm.
happen or they happened by luck, he played them like really well. Um, so yeah, there was that. And then I think just, I don't know, we've said it many, many times, but just down to even the most small little characters. Just this drama was really, really good at making me feel for all of them. Like even, do you remember like the guy like Tong Lu who was he's part of Mei Chang-su's kind of original Jianghu gang. Like he's been with him since the start to start the alliance
Mm.
and the Jiangzhou alliance. And he then gets tricked by the sister of the kind of spy.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
but where she basically pretends to be just like a widow that needed his help, and then he finds out later that he's been betrayed, and then she
Yeah.
falls in love with him. It's like a little cute, really, really
Yeah,
tiny
yeah.
side story, but I remember feeling like, oh, even their little side stories make me feel so much because I
Yeah,
really
yeah.
felt for him that he was part of this bigger plot. I was kind of like, because he then became like the weak point in Mei Chang-su's kind of like strategy that he
Mm-hmm,
hadn't
mm-hmm.
foreseen. And then, but then I really felt for them as a couple because they really fell in love with each other. And yeah, and then they ultimately ended up sacrificing. And it was just like, oh, so nice. So I just think
Yeah.
this drama is genius at making us feel something for even the most side characters.
Yeah. Yeah, I would absolutely agree. I don't think I have much else to add than what we've already talked about, but it is a I would agree it is a classic of Chinese dramas. I think it deserves that title completely and for many reasons, writing, acting, it's just all well done and that's whether it be Chinese dramas, Korean dramas, dramas in general, it's rare that a drama is so well done all around. So I really appreciate that this one is done all
No.
around. So yeah, I think that's my thoughts on it as well. I'm glad.
Can I,
Like I
can
said,
I,
I
Liliana
just
though,
feel go go.
can I be cheeky though and ask like what dropped this for you from a 5 teacup to a 4 teacup?
It's so basically for me, Five Teacups are the kind of dramas that I would happily rewatch. And I are just very comforting to me and that I'm completely in that world while I'm watching it. And I'm like
Right.
looking at behind the scenes and I'm like, I'm all encompassed in that world, if
Ah,
that makes
right.
sense.
Yes, it does. Yes.
They are just like my all-time favorite dramas.
Yes.
And the reason why that to me, I think like I would probably give this ultimately, if I was to give it a rating for the drama that it is that includes no personal feelings at all, it would probably be a 5. But if it's like personal feelings involved, it's a drama that I don't necessarily like. I couldn't binge it and I couldn't like be completely in that world because it's so dense and heavy.
Yes.
Um that for me, it's not the type of drama that I tend to watch. But I felt like I was just about to say, I felt like a real accomplishment when I got to the end and everything clicked into place. So that's why it's not a 5 for me. Because like to me, a 5 is like my 10 dramas, and those are like my all-time favorite dramas. And it's rare that like I give those ratings out in general. I don't think there's a lot of dramas actually that I've ever given, but that's the one that I feel like whenever I'm watching it, I feel like I want to make edits and I want to take all the notes down and I want to review.
Yes.
And those types of dramas that are just really, really all encompassing.
Got it.
So that's why my fives are not very, because it needs to be like to come all the way. So yeah, that's why it's not the drama itself, it's the way that I like to watch dramas in a sense.
Yes.
But
That makes sense. That
yeah,
makes sense. Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
So that's why. But yeah, I think I still loved it in general, just for the masterpiece that it is.
Yeah.
So that is it. I'm so glad we finally got to do this, and
Yay!
it took us
It's been a
because
while coming, hasn't it? Yeah.
it has. So guys, Sarah and I have been talking about doing this review since we recorded for her podcast a
No,
while back.
no. What the very first time was our very first podcast together, which we did
Oh
with
my gosh,
Leah,
it
and
was.
then
It
I think
was.
she had to drop. I think I remember, and then I mentioned that I've been meaning to watch Nirvana and Fire, and then we made a
Yeah,
pact on that podcast together that we would buddy
watch
watch it
it.
and then watch it and then cover it. Yes,
Yeah. So it's been a hot minute
that's been
since
a
we
long
sort
time.
of started talking about this one. So I'm glad we got to sit together and sort of talk about it. And it's very exciting because you guys won't know, but tomorrow, so we're recording this on a Friday, and then Saturday, I'm actually going. I always get this wrong, but I think I'm going down to meet you. I think you're down from me as opposed to
I think of you as a
I
cross. You're across from me.
yeah, like a little bit. Yeah. So I'm actually going to go and meet Sarah up and go and have some hot pot, which, if you guys have been listening to this podcast for any amount of time, you should know that hot pot is one of my favorite things to go and eat. So I'm very excited. But yeah, I'm just glad we finally got to sit down and give this drama that peace and that space that it definitely deserves. Thank you so much, Sarah, for coming on and joining me on this episode. Where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram at Drama This, and our podcast is called Afternooner Asks. We also have a website, www.afternoonerasks.com, so you can find out all about us on there.
So I will link those in the description notes below. So make sure to check those out. And that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I shall catch you next time. Bye.